It's time to get your morning started with the news you need to know.
News update.
This is what's trending with DJ and PK. Hashtag NBA.
Rob and I did not give Bronny anything. Bronny has earned this. Bronny talks about his hard work. Bronny has earned this through hard work. And for us, prioritizing player development, we view Bronny as like case study one, because his base level of feel, athleticism, point of attack defender, shooting, passing, there's a lot to like about his game. And as we sort of build out our player development program holistically, he's going to have a great opportunity to become an excellent NBA player.
Holistically.
Stop.
Holistically.
That's JJ Redick. This on Bronny James. This seriously bothers me. Now, I watched the whole thing, and I am extremely impressed, and I've said this before about LeBron James Jr. I'm very impressed with the young man. Love the way he handles himself. Loves what he has to say. But don't try to convince us that it's anything more than he got drafted because of the connection there. Whether he can make it or not will be determined. But you see this all the time. No, I didn't get this because of my dad. He didn't buy the thing and then give it to me. No, I earned this. No, you didn't. But it doesn't matter. Nepotism abounds. Your Uncle Paul got you into the business. I mean, it happens. And then it's what you do with it. And you wouldn't say to any other draft choice, he earned this, because it's understood that they did. Don't focus on that, because then the rest of us, that becomes the focus of what you said. That's why Yak chose to play that very thing. That's why it was all over social media. If you just ignore it and just say, he's going to work hard going forward, blah, blah, blah. We really like his parameter, or perimeter, not perimeter, but the parameter of his skills. And now it's his opportunity. And it drives me nuts when people who are born on third and think they hit a triple keep trying to tell us, no. Don't focus on that, because that becomes then the focus.
And one other thing, we'd like to announce LeBron James has agreed to a 2-year, $104 million max deal with the Los Angeles Lakers.
Yeah, just tell me what you think he can do going forward.
That's not a joke. He actually did.
Let that stuff go. If I would have been so fortunate to even been able to be on the on-deck circle, or been born on third, it doesn't matter at that point. Wherever you start, it's what you do from that point on. Not necessarily how you got there. Obviously, he got there because of that thing called LeBron James and the amazing player he is and the unbelievable shadow he just casts across everything. But don't try to convince us of stuff that we don't believe.
No. We're going to have a press conference and we're going to convince you.
Right. Have the press conference, but that's what everybody's focusing on. Oh, sure, he earned it. And takes away from the kid.
Golden State Warriors attempts to replace Klay Thompson in the lineup yield Kyle Anderson, 3 years, $27 million to join Golden State. It'll be a sign-and-trade deal that will net Minnesota a future second-round pick swap as well as cash in the deal. Minnesota getting a little cash. You like Kyle Anderson?
He's been in the league for years now.
Yeah. So on to 8th, 9th, or 10th in the West.
And he's an okay player. He's not going to replace Klay Thompson because he's an entirely different type of player. As a body, yes.
Klay Thompson's decision to join the Dallas Mavericks disappointed his father, Michael Thompson, who said he tried to sway Klay to L.A. I'm not feeling too much in a congratulatory mood right now, because, obviously it's Klay's decision. It's his life. I'm really disappointed. I was hoping, as you can assess, that he would be a Laker, and it was close. It came down to the Lakers and the Mavs, but the Mavs won out. But you know me, I was hoping and praying he'd finish his career with the Lakers.
Yeah, he should be bitterly disappointed. The kid is going to go to Texas, make $50 million here, and how do you get by? How do you get out of bed today? It's tough. That's tough.
Could have been calling his kids' games. Could have been traveling, father-son time on the road. Well, never mind.
Yeah, Klay, I'll see you later, Dad.
And then the final decision was, my dad's around Lakers a lot. I'll go to Dallas.
Well, I think he had a better situation. And he did. Finally, you got one dude who's talking about state taxes. 20 years later, we got one guy.
Nah, there's been more than one. You've ignored the others. DJ and PK.
Hashtag NFL.
What I would have changed was, okay, there's part of me that I actually still love. Like when I see these young players, I see like Patrick, out there at quarterback running around, laughing, having fun. I'm like, I used to be like that. What the hell happened to me? And I just got too serious. But again, I can only look back and think, okay, if I do it again, which I'll never do it again, I would be different. But the reality is you can't. So you just learn from it and go, okay, now next phase of life, enjoy it a little more.
Tom Brady found a regret to his playing career.
Oh, yeah, this is
10 Super Bowls and the 7 titles.
It happens every time.
New York Jets released uniforms in April that are a nod to the team's past, using the airplane design attached to the team name Jets. Logo was designed back in 1978 by the team's film and video director, Jim Pons, who's now suing the team in the NFL seeking unspecified damages, the cancellation of the Jets' trademark of the logo, and a ruling the Jets cannot use the logo without his consent and compensation. He claims he owns the logo and was created outside his job with the team. So they will battle over that. Cool logo, though. Free agent safety Sean Gibson, who spent the past 2 years with the 49ers, has been suspended 6 games by the NFL for violating the league's policy on performance-enhancing substances. Now we'll see if he gets a team. DJ and PK.
Hashtag college football.
Utah State's informed head coach Blake Anderson is placed on administrative leave with the intent to fire him yesterday, along with firing Deputy AD Jerry Bovey and Director of Player Development Austin Albrecht. Anderson retained high-profile attorney Tom Mars to represent him, and Mars issued a statement saying, quote, like any university, Utah State could fire Blake Anderson for any reason as long as they paid his buyout. However, based on the facts alleged and language in Blake's employment agreement, USU is going to be fighting an uphill battle if they try to fire him for cause just to avoid paying Blake what he's owed. Stiffing a head coach by blaming him for what his supervisor allegedly failed to do is a novel approach that hasn't been tried before, but that theory will never hold up in court. Closed quote. We won't be lucky enough to get a court case and all the depositions that go with it, will we, PK?
Oh, yeah.
Settlement will come at some point.
As soon as I saw that yesterday, this is...
There's going to be a lawsuit on this.
Obviously, he's going to try to get as much money as he can.
It's 3 employees, so there could be more than one.
Yeah, I don't know what the contracts of Jerry and the other guy are. And Jerry's a great dude, and it's unfortunate. All this stuff is unfortunate. But, once a coach does, of course it's going to go into some form of litigation, and we'll see how it plays out.
Utah tabbed as the Big 12 favorite. Imagine your surprise in the media preseason poll. Utah had one more first-place vote than Kansas State. BYU is picked to finish 13th in the 16-team league this fall.
I was a skosh surprised. It's
the Utah
needless.
was one?
Yeah. It's needless. But it goes to what I've been saying for years. This is the most overrated, underrated program in the history of college football. They are not underrated. They haven't been underrated. It's an old, tired take that has been put to bed at least 5 years ago, if not longer. But everybody thinks, oh, it's Utah out there. It goes to the day before the draft in 1997 when I was with Keith Van Horn back in Charlotte. I got the only time I covered the NBA draft. It had to be in Charlotte, not New York, but that's my bad luck. And the guys had the breakout interviews on separate tables of the top 5-6 guys, and they're asking Keith, well, how come, you're a California kid, how come you didn't go to the Pac-10? How come you went to Utah? I was recruited by the Pac-10. They just naturally think it's Utah, so it's just this little woe-begotten program. And so now... these Big 12, and I was asked to participate. I didn't because I didn't feel I had enough depth of knowledge of the conference yet. Maybe in a year or two after I've had more knowledge of some of the, all the other teams involved, I would feel better about doing it. But they're going to think, well, Utah. Yeah, Utah's really good. Yeah, because they are really good. And this just proves they're not underrated. They're rated accordingly. They're right there in that second tier behind the first tier, obviously, which is the highest you can go, and being in second tier with an opportunity maybe to move up is really, really good. But it doesn't matter if they finish second, third. All you got to do is finish second, get to Dallas, win that game, and then you're in.
If I'm mildly surprised by anything, it's the fact that 5 different teams got first place votes. It's not like somebody got one. That I would understand. There's always one outlier. Someone votes for the hometown team. That's fine. But Kansas got 5 votes. Arizona got 3. That's more than just.
Well, I think the big story here is teams at the bottom. I was listening to Phoenix Radio yesterday. They're talking about this. ASU picked last, probably as they should. They're playing all the top 5 teams and only 2 of the bottom 6, which is just like BYU. Utah, conversely, is the other way. It's like your mark is rigging this for the teams that they thought were going to be better. Well, that's ridiculous.
I'm 0% surprised.
But it's ridiculous.
Well, I know, but I told you a long time ago.
You did?
In a big league, yes.
Oh, well, thank you for educating me.
You're welcome. In a big league, who you don't play is going to matter. Of course, it's going to end up.
Yeah, but there's no league like this.
Well, I haven't gone through everybody's schedule, but I would be surprised if this was the only league that did this.
But this is the first time these teams have been in a league of this size. You told me in a day when it didn't exist.
No, I told you with the 16-team league, like the Big Ten, the SEC, the ACC. Now, this is going to happen.
Now,
who
but you told me
play?
long ago, but it didn't exist long ago.
Months ago, PK, when we knew this was going to happen.
Well, you're smart. What do you want? You want credit?
I want you to,
What do you want?
I want you to stop picking on me.
It has nothing to do with you. It's about the conference.
The schedules are not going to be even. They're not going to be unbalanced as soon as they got away with the divisions.
But you can make them more balanced.
The only thing that is mildly surprising is that the TV networks
too mildly surprising so far.
Well, the TV networks are letting them get away with this. They want more big games.
Yeah, that's what I'm talking about.
But those teams then beat each other up. Then they're no longer big games.
Yes, but it doesn't matter because you get the automatic bid. They are big games.
Yes, but they're trying to get more than one team in.
You can. So what? That's not the way to do it. You need strength of schedule. They're going to point out you beat the bottom. You're trying to do it. You're not going to backdoor your way in. If you're the Big Ten and the SEC, you got a chance to backdoor your way in. You just show up and the door's open. The only way you're going to get multiples is by having great teams beating great teams. So that's the opposite way to go about it. I told you that months ago.
I know. I told you that years ago.
That's what they
Nobody
have to
said
do.
That. You're just making that up.
Well, I remember it as much as you educating me months ago. I mean, that's not the way to do it. You can get 5 teams in, whatever, but the only way you're going to do it is by having big-time wins, not beating the bottom of the conference. That is stupid. So that I'm not calling you out. I'm calling them out. Their way of doing it is ridiculous. Utah should not have one of the easiest schedules. It should have one of the hardest schedules.
But they get the bottom of the league, at least the perceived bottom of the league.
Well, it will be the bottom of the league.
See if somebody takes off like West Virginia did last year.
What you hope for is the bottom of the league is good, but there's always going to be a bottom of the league. Those teams at the bottom will be at the bottom, but that doesn't mean they're necessarily bad teams.
There'll always be somebody at the bottom who is wrecked by injuries. There'll always be somebody at the bottom with a new coach building a program. There'll always be somebody at the bottom who was pretty good, and then they had a good season, and the transfer portal wrecked them.
Or when you played them, their top 2 or 3 guys were out, but then they came back the next week.
All right, we'll get into this more in the next segment.
Oh, thank goodness.
All right, well, you put it up on Facebook, and this has shocked you, but it got a little bit of reaction. DJ and PK.
Hashtag Major League Baseball.
The payoff pitch. A swing and a high fly, medium deep center. This will be interesting. Robert makes the catch. Tagging Jimenez. The throw to the plate. Nowhere near in time. Ball game is over. A game-winning sacrifice fly. The payoff pitch. A swing and a high fly, medium deep center. This will be interesting. Robert makes the catch. Tagging Jimenez. The throw to the plate. Nowhere near in time. Ball game.
Yeah, they played doubleheader.
Cleveland. The Guardians win it on a walk-off sacrifice fly. They beat the White Sox 7-6. What happens when the Dodgers beat the Diamondbacks with the walk-off? Your two teams, you sad for the team that lost, or you pumped? You got ties to so many teams. I never know how you handle this.
Oh, I go Diamondbacks 1.
Okay.
No, I went to bed right after they scored a run to go up the Diamondbacks 3-2. Small ball, bunt them over, base hit, and score the run, and then
3-2 in the 7th, and everything broke loose after that.
Well,
yeah.
The Shohei kid went deep, hit a home run, he had 3 hits. I watched the game, and then they went up 4-3, and then it was getting to 10 o'clock, and I've got to go to bed. And that even started they start, like Diamondbacks start their home games at 6:40. The Dodgers don't start till 7:10, which is an hour later in both instances here. So I didn't get to see all of it, and woke up this morning and saw what the score was. The Shohei kid, I'm telling you, man, he literally could be the best player alive, which includes former players. The designation that Willie Mays had for, I don't know, 50 years, whatever
Right.
it is.
So move over, Johnny Bench.
It could
and
be.
Ken Griffey and whoever else you want to throw in there.
It could be, man. He's
Barry
a
Bonds.
phenomenal player. There's just no doubt about it, man. He can do it all.
Bees lost 8-7 to the Tacoma Rainiers. Same two teams tonight. 7:50 on the Zone. DJ and PK.
Hashtag RSL.
After 10 days off, RSL is back at home against the Houston Dynamo, the team that knocked them out of the Open Cup last year, the team that knocked them out of the MLS playoffs last year. Very familiar with these guys. Saw them 6 times. Playing for the first time this year. Houston's been playing well. They were unbeaten in the month of June, so they're rolling. RSL going to be a little short-handed tonight. Fidel Barajas is off to Chivas. He's in Mexico. He's gone. Chang may or may not be available. Could be a little thin. Could be some Monarchs on the bench. We'll talk about this with Brian Dunseth coming up at 9 o'clock. And asked Pablo yesterday about the World Cup team, and his thought was roster balance. He went down the Pat Riley road of 1/3 of your guys young, 1/3 in their prime, 1/3 veterans. He said this group's lacking on veterans, and in tough moments, you looked at that, the young guy's going to look over his shoulder at that veteran and think, he knows it's okay. I know it's okay. He says they're missing that kind of leadership. They want to do it. They buy into what the coach does. They're missing the veterans. That was his thought on what was wrong with the team.
I told you, they need to imagine what can be unburdened by what has been.
First kick set for 7:30. Coverage of the match begins at 6:30 with the RSL pre-match show. What is trending is brought to you by Shamrock Plumbing. There's no job too big or too small. Get the personal touch with Shamrock Plumbing. Tim Lacombe is here talking NBA trades and free agency at 8:30. Brian Dunseth, soccer commentator, 9 o'clock with more on the national team and RSL. It's also a Win Ticket Wednesday, and we got a 4-pack of tickets to the Ultimate Sports Bash taking place at the Mount America Expo Center on July 12th and 13th. DJ and PK, the question of the day. College football, the Big 12 poll. Next, stay with us.
Ladies and gentlemen, may I present...
This is JJ and Alex.
Joining us right now on the program, we've got Josh Stone, right winger.
This has kind of been the focal point for a while, is that this is getting to the end of the so-called rebuild that was going on for a while. And I think at the end of the year, we kind of proved that a little bit with how fun it was to play and how fun the games were for our group. We had a good young group that was scoring a lot and having some fun. So I think you got to kind of build off the end of the year into this year, and a lot of draft picks and money to spend to bring in some players and some picks that are going to build more into that.
Catch JJ and Alex afternoons from 3 to 6. Presented by G2G Bars on 97.5, the KSL Sports Zone.
Hot Takes or Toast is brought to you by Siegfried and Jensen with 30 years of serving Utah. Question of the morning. The poll is in. Utah's picked first in the Big 12. BYU is picked 13th. How accurate is it? Kevin, I guess we won't really know until the season starts and plays out in its entirety.
Duh.
Kevin doesn't want any speculation. Just sit there quietly, enjoy the summer. We'll get back to you later with the football. Larry says it's very accurate. Utah's the best team in the Big 12. Also, BYU is 13th. And if you pick 13 in a league that's named the Big 12, then you need to quit football. Keep the rivalry going. That a kid. It's a poll, Scott says. By definition, it's opinions. Maybe right. It's likely close. Better prove it or disprove it on the field.
Well, yeah. I mean, the thing about that, though, is that if they were to be picked 8th and finish 2nd, you darn well better believe everybody in the athletic department, when I say they, that's a universal, they'll tell you, oh, man, we greatly overachieved. Yeah, look at that. I mean, we've heard that all the time. So,
Jake, this is great for the Zoobs. He's going right to your point.
Yeah.
Low expectations. Set the bar low. Now we'll clear it. Be the underdog. Have the chip on your shoulder. No one believes in us.
Yeah. Well, there was very few that do believe in BYU, that's for sure. And most everybody believes in Utah. Call up any national dude, gal right now who's not here. And what do you think of Utah? Oh, man, they're gritty. They're tough. That Kyle Whittingham, he freaking does the running in the Bulls, and the Bulls hide.
That'd be awesome video. Get me that video. I need that video.
He stares him down, and the bull goes right around him after somebody else.
Kyle, hands on hips. The bull's like, I'll go toss this guy over the wall.
Yeah.
That guy.
You go down to Mexico, and there's a bull with a red cape going, Toro, Toro. And then Kyle runs right into it. I'm telling you.
Mickey, I like the poll, but so much happens in a season. There you go, Mickey. That's realistic.
Oh, Mickey, you're so fine.
You're so fine, you blow my mind.
Hey, Mickey.
Hey, Mickey. Travis, that is a very high bar for Utah to clear. Lots of room for improvement for the bubble school. Pace Mannion approves of this message.
Who's the bubble school?
BYU. In the bubble. Utah County is the bubble. They're in their
like the Laker
reality.
bubble championship?
Sort of. Yeah. Gabe, polls are irrelevant. Look at last year, especially West Virginia at 14. Yeah, West Virginia was the big overachiever.
Right, and I bet you over there they're telling you about, man, look what we did last year. And when we get down to Vegas next week, they'll be telling you about that again.
Polls are irrelevant. Number one. Look at last year, Texas, number one. So they got that right.
Yes, they did. I did look at last year.
I think that poll was pretty solid. Oklahoma State at 7. They ended up tied for second.
Well, they were a big question mark going into the season because they had a ton of transfers. We're like, what's going on over there?
Right.
Why? This is a solid program. It's been a solid program for a number of years. Gundy's a little quirky, but so what? He's been a little quirky for 20 years, and they've won a lot. They haven't been the top of the top, but they've been really good in the conference. And so they had people deserting the program, and it didn't seem to make any sense. Well, sure enough, it didn't matter. They were still pretty good. Again.
7-2.
I would have thought that they would have been picked number one. I mean, they've got just virtually everyone back. Now, Ollie Gordon got in trouble with the DUI or DWI, depending on where you live, and they were talking about that on the Big 12 station. But I got to believe he's playing by the time conference season rolls around. And, non-conference, if you're looking for an at-large bid, matters. But if you want the guaranteed bid, it doesn't matter.
Oklahoma State picked third with 14 first-place votes.
And that's a significant amount.
Not disrespected, but not respected to the level that you might have thought. That went to K-State with 19 first-place votes.
Not that surprising.
You would have had them third, fourth, or fifth on your ballot?
K-State?
Yes.
No, third.
Third. Okay.
Well, I didn't do a ballot. My top three are Utah, Oklahoma State, Kansas State. And whatever order, it doesn't matter to me. But those are my top three.
It'll sure matter at the end of the year, whoever's third.
Well, yeah. Of course it does.
Kansas and
poll,
Arizona.
we're talking about a poll.
Right. But Kansas, Arizona next?
Uh-huh. Yeah.
Iowa State and West Virginia after that, coming off 6-3 seasons. And UCF, the final team in the top half of the poll.
Yeah, I really didn't get down that far.
Once you get to the middle, it's like Oklahoma State last year. Well, he's usually good, so I don't want to Gundy. So I don't want to put him at the bottom. But they lost all these guys, so I don't want to put him at the top. So last year they finished 7th in the poll.
Right, and this year
you can totally see the logic of the voters.
They don't have the question mark of that they had last year. So that makes me think, my gosh, last year they went into the season with a bunch of question marks. This year they don't. How much better are they going to be? If you kind of follow that logic it out a little bit, to me, you look at them, well, they're going to be right there. I would have put those top 3 in a hat and just pulled them out and been comfortable any which way. It wouldn't have mattered. And then Kansas and Arizona, depending on whatever. I probably would have gone with Arizona ahead of Kansas. It's because the quarterback at Kansas has had injury problems a la Taysom Hill. When he's healthy, they're a really good team. They've got an excellent running back. They've got some all-conference players available on defense. Got to see them last year, me and the Yockster, in Lawrence, Kansas. And a lot of those dudes are returning.
Saw the old stadium bar. They tore it down.
Yeah, and it was old.
And my dad went to the basketball game later that winter, and he went over to see the football stadium and sent me a picture. It's completely gone.
Yeah.
Took it down to the ground.
And it's just $300-some-odd million refurbishment.
Yeah, it reminded much smaller, but it reminded me of Stanford Stadium.
Yeah, it's
when you went there, it's like, this is clearly an old facility. It needs modernization, and then of course Stanford has since done that a few years back.
Modernization.
Yeah, modernization, yeah.
Modernization,
yeah.
Hey, it works.
It's a bonus syllable.
And you saw that. You felt like you were – it was kind of cool, actually, to be in an older stadium. TCU had that for years, too, having gone down there. I mean, they had some shaft of a thing for an elevator. Like, it just really, really old. Colorado State had that. Now they built a whole new one
right, yeah.
on their campus, and you had these old stadiums that at some point were going to be modernized, and so they did. And then we'll see what Kansas is. It just going to be 1 year or 2, or even more? Because they're playing some games in the soccer stadium, some games where the Chiefs play this season. I don't know how long it's going to be, but I'm not going to look it up.
I think it's 1 year, but I'd have to look it up.
Yeah. So if they have their health, particularly at QB, they're capable. It's going to be a fun race this year. I'm excited for it. It's not my preferred, but you got to move on.
The bottom of the league. ASU, Houston. Where's the middle and where's the bottom? Arizona, Houston, Cincinnati, BYU, Baylor at 12, Colorado at 11.
Well, since there's 16, I think you would go 4, 4, 4, 4, 4. So that would be from 12 to 16. That would be the bottom.
Well, it'd be 13 to 16 if it's the bottom 4.
No. Because you're putting in 5 this year. You can't really do the 4-4.
To answer your question real quick, Kansas is expected to be back in their new stadium by next season.
Yeah, it doesn't fall into the nice mathematical divide by because you've got 5 teams, and there may be a 6th team that can surprise us and be in contention. But right now, it looks like there's clearly 5 teams, so you can't necessarily specifically divide it along the nice, neat fractions. So it's off a little bit.
So 5 in the top group, 6 in the bottom group. Are we going to allow Colorado to go to the middle of the league? They're picked 11th.
They've got to show it. I'm not. If they get there, they get there. But I'm not going to anoint them anything. They haven't earned anything to be anointed.
Did their schedule get stacked with teams at the bottom and prop them up and keep them going?
I haven't looked. I don't know. I'm not sure about that. I think they got North Dakota right off the bat, and Oklahoma State. I think has South Dakota. And which one? One of those has won like 29 games in a row.
It's South Dakota State, I believe.
Right. And their last loss was 7-3 to Iowa a couple years ago, in which Iowa, the 7, was not traditionally.
It was not offense. Was it special teams or D?
It was 2 safeties and a field goal to reach the 7.
Thanks for nothing, offense. The D got her done.
Yeah.
That's peak Iowa football.
That's
right
how.
there.
That is. That's peak.
That's how SDSU lost that game. So that's a
hard game.
Yeah, those teams, they got players in the NFL. It's no big deal. And then I think Colorado has their neighbors to the north with North Dakota, which those are decent teams. And right now, and this could change, I think the line on that game with Colorado is only like 8 or 9, something like that.
Colorado looks like they're playing all the top teams in the league. They're getting both Kansas schools. They're getting Utah, Oklahoma State, and Arizona.
I think that's what you're getting. Yeah. The bottom has to play the top, and the top. If the bottom has to play the top
has to play the bottom.
It's the only other way it works. Yeah, I think it's stupid. I think that's not the way to go. I think they should be playing each other, and then you're going to get one team in automatically, and then maybe say like Utah finishes second, or they're 10-2, and they go down and play K-State in Dallas, and K-State beats them 31-30. But they've got all these great wins in their back pocket and a couple of really close losses. That's the way. If you're the Big Ten and the SEC, no, it doesn't matter. They're going to get the advantages. That's just the way it is, man. It's like the Dodgers and the Lakers. They're going to get the advantages. They're going to get LeBron. They're going to get the Shohei kid. Yeah, and away you go.
Baylor was given the bottom of the league. Gift wrapped. Keep them afloat. They're playing Colorado and BYU and Houston. Looks like Kansas and Oklahoma State are their only tough games.
I think that, to me, rather than the scheduling, I would have evened it out more. But I go, and I told you this a long time ago.
You go.
It matters when you play teams.
You did tell me that a long time ago. I wasn't sure if you were making a joke or a point or both at the same time. No, absolutely. Do you catch a team, and there's no way to know this now, when a quarterback plays 10 of the 12 games, did you play him one of the 2 weeks the QB was out?
Right. And you have to wonder.
Yeah, the running back tweaks an ankle, misses 2 games.
In today's world, if the backup quarterback is going to be as less unprepared or less prepared as he could possibly be, because if I ain't starting, I'm departing. Was that Gary Templeton All-Star game or something?
I don't remember.
Yeah. If I ain't starting, I ain't departing. Like he wasn't going to go to the All-Star game. Yeah. Well, now it is you are departing. So you look at Utah. Whoever is the backup quarterback, that snap will be his first snap. Right? Unless Heward comes in, I suppose, and they can have that, and he does have a little bit of he has more experience. So maybe he gets that, and that becomes null and void as far as that goes.
But in a lot of situations, the backup's going to be brand new to the program.
Yeah. So
or will have been in the program but will not have had any snaps. To have the guy in the program who's been in the program and had the snaps is going to be rare.
Well, what it's going to be is going to be with a crummy team. So he's going to transfer to that team. You see?
Then he's new to the program.
He's new to the program, but he's going someplace else. He left someplace else because he thinks there's
transferring down a level so you can play.
Yeah, so I think you're going to see that situation. Like it's the same thing with the U of A. They've got a hotshot quarterback, but if he goes down, okay, because he's a hotshot quarterback. If the job is open, well, then you can have guys with experience transfer in. If the job's not open, you're going to have youngsters. Or in the case of Heward, is looking at, if I could get a year or 2 as a starter, I'm okay. But I'm not planning to play probably this year. So that what you say is if that quarterback misses a game or 2, which is probably going to happen, that's going to be the case. Like for BYU, they plan to run their quarterback a lot more. They feel that they've got the athletic ability, speaking of the players, and the coaches feel they've got the depth. So if somebody gets hurt, it won't be necessarily catastrophic because they've got a couple more guys that they could put in. So utilize the run game if he's capable, and they've got guys, their top 3 guys are capable of picking up yardage. They're mobile, plenty mobile enough to add that as a threat, and that's tough to defend, especially at the college level. You don't see it as much at the pro level, but at the college level you see it more, and it's really, really important. So we'll see how that plays out. And then you can get a team that gets hot, and they're playing better than anticipated. You bring up West Virginia. Somebody at the bottom will be better. It's clearly not going to be the last 5 teams that are in that poll are going to be exactly the way the poll is.
Last year, 3 of the bottom 4 were actually the bottom. But West Virginia broke out. Yeah.
New to the conference. And they were new to Power 5. There's a bunch of teams here coming into the conference this year. None of them are new to the Power 5, which is now the 4. So I think that is beneficial.
And then those Pac-12 teams got put on number 1 Utah, number 5 Arizona, number 11 Colorado, and number 16 ASU. They are spread all over the place.
Well, I think you look at the 2 on the bottom. Their coaches are going into their second year. I think just by virtue of going into your second year, and both of those coaches
replace people who are fired.
Yeah.
Right. And as opposed to Arizona who has a new coach, but replaced someone who had success and took a more lucrative job.
Right. So anticipating, I expect both the Buffs and the Devils to be better than they were last year. I don't care how great Coach Prime is or this or that. Everybody in those situations, it doesn't matter who you are, you need time. And they will be better. Both those programs will be better. They may not necessarily have more wins, but they will be better.
DJ PK, it's 97.5 The Zone.
This is Jake Scott and Ben Anderson.
The problem is I think the Jazz want to move a bunch of their draft picks, and now the market is not what it was before the Jazz made their own trades. But if Mikal Bridges is worth that, what is Anthony Edwards worth?
Yes, what is Giannis worth? Like, to get one of those guys now, is it 10 draft picks?
Right, what is the cost? So what is the way to go? It would make me more likely to go in on moving up in the draft. Because maybe I think that now drafting my player really has to be the guy, and I've got all these picks. I can move wherever I want in the draft. Maybe the most value is not flipping picks for stars, but drafting stars because that's the only way to get players.
How do we get a star player? If we've got all these draft picks and we can't acquire another star, like the market is not opening up to make stars available for trade with all this draft capital, the only way to get a star is through the draft.
Hear Jake Scott and Ben Anderson every day from 10 to noon on 97.5 The KSL Sports Zone.
The band of the day is The Doors. Jim Morrison died on this day in 1971, 53 years ago today. Band of the Day brought to you by Live Nation. For all the live concerts and events in 2024, check out livenation.com. What are your long 4th of July weekend plans? What you got going?
Oh, I am going to party.
Brett. Thursday morning, walk to the beach, work out, do a hike, barbecue with friends, fireworks at Kailua Beach. Friday and Saturday, more workouts, hikes, beaches, and chill. Also, some Facebook. Ha, 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 ha. Go Utes!
There's nowhere for them to go. They got to go to Vegas next week.
Tony says, I'm going to enjoy the day off. Please don't do anything that involves a marketing trade on the 4th. We don't need another Gordon Hayward incident.
A Gordon Hayward incident.
No NBA news on the 4th. Everybody enjoy the holiday. NBA news later. Tony wants to wave it off.
Our guys had to rush into the studio. They were important.
Yes, very important. We have to talk about this.
We knew for weeks and months that Hayward, I had told you a long time ago.
He's out. Not a peep about anything else. Remember when his wife accidentally posted the kids in were they in the onesies or a bib or something? There was some Celtics gear they had on on St. Patrick's Day.
Really?
Mm-hmm. It was a big deal.
Danny Ray's birthday, no less.
Well, that was his birthday gift.
Yeah.
Getting Gordon Hayward.
I think his birthday gift was drafting Brown and
Tatum.
That was a bizarre story. A bizarre, not just that day, but a player on the come who makes his first All-Star appearance, and then basically that's the last you heard of him.
Goes in for a dunk, comes down, he's hurt, he's out long-term, major injury. Meanwhile, these draft picks over here are blowing up.
Yeah. It's a crazy, crazy story that you can't anticipate. You just don't know how things are going to go. Boston, turns out it was a wasted $30 million on Hayward, but it didn't matter.
Because the owners bought it for $360. They won 2 championships, and now they're going to sell it for somewhere over $4 billion.
It's all about who you have, not who you don't have. And now Hayward is just left to the wind, wondering if he's going to continue.
He's left to the wind. He's building a kite out of $100 bills.
Yeah.
Left to the wind. He's flying around.
There was a bitter departure from Oklahoma City. His wife went on social media and ran her mouth again. Maybe not again. Maybe that was the first time. And is he done? Is it over? I haven't heard him signing. Did he sign? Unless I missed it, I don't know.
I haven't heard anything.
And he'll have millions upon millions of dollars, so that'll be great. He'd never have to work. His wife never has to work. The kids, they're all set, and that's great for them. That matters. I just talked about financial independence. Yeah, that really matters. But as a player, it sort of went down the tubes. And you wouldn't have thought that.
When he signed a 4-year, $127 million contract with the Boston Celtics.
Yeah. I can't think of any player that comes to mind like that.
Yeah, so awesome. I just said $127 million. $127,829,970 contract. Like most of us wouldn't go wild for $829,970 bucks. But you just blow that off. It's $127 million.
Mm-hmm. No.
Don't need to talk about the $829,000, which would be awesome.
Yeah. I don't know that they're going to do anything. I don't know that it had to be done that day. But nevertheless, they decided that's what it did. And the thank you, Utah. As Utah was just going to say, oh, okay, you're welcome. But it was a mistake. We're going to hold it against him the rest of his life. There was nothing he was going to say that was going to pacify the audience that he was intending to have read it. Like, oh, okay, yeah, okay, yeah, we wish you luck, man. Best. No, it was going to be a bitter departure no matter what, and he shouldn't have done that. And then it didn't work out for him. But financially, it was going to work out no matter what. So we'll see what tomorrow brings. I don't know that that'll happen. I don't know that they're going to do that move. I remember where I was when I saw it. I was down in St. George. But it was zero surprise. It was maybe a surprise that day, but it was clear that's who that couple wanted to go play for and be a part of and live in that community. And I think you have to look at it, those are the rules, and there you go. What they've got to hope for is that they develop somebody's, and they want to stay. They brought the 3 in yesterday. They each spoke for about 10 minutes, listened to all 3, and they all sounded great. All bright young guys, now going to work and see what happens.
Can you dominate the guy in front of you?
I'm excited for all 3 of their possibilities, which may not be anything.
Yeah.
Or maybe something, and somewhere in between. Right? We're looking back in 4 years from now, in 3 years, I'll go 3 years. How many of those guys will be on the roster?
I was thinking about that actually driving in, that adding 3 guys 1 year, 3 guys another. You're going to add 3 more. It's supposed to be a deep draft. How young are they going to get? How young are they going to stay? How quickly did they move on from these guys? I'm torn. I'm trying to figure out 1 or 2. I'll go 2. I'll go 1.
One of the 3 that spoke yesterday, so of the 3 draft picks last week, you're going to say in 3 seasons.
I'm torn between 1 and 2, but okay. I'm going to go 1.
All right.
At some point, when they go big game hunting, they're going to have to give up young prospects.
Makes sense. And hopefully these guys are prospects.
Right.
Right now, that's all they are. In a year, there'll be more knowledge, and in 2 years, more knowledge. But yeah, I buy your thought process, because there's going to be a team out there that's going to have a star who is in a losing situation, a la Lillard, and we've seen it many, many times over the years, and that player gets traded. Or the situation breaks up. You had Durant and Irving in Brooklyn. Didn't work. And Harden, I guess you can put him in there too. And so you can pounce on that. And what are those teams going to want back? They're going to want youngsters and picks. And of all the things the Jazz don't have, what they do have are youngsters and picks. I'll give you mine here soon.
DJ and PK, it's 97.5 The Zone. Coming up at 8:30, Tim Lacombe, Jazz Radio studio analyst. Save that question for Tim at the bottom of the hour, and we'll talk to him about that. Brian Dunseth, longtime soccer commentator on the U.S. men's national team's problems, and RSL tonight against the Houston Dynamo. He'll join us at 9 o'clock. DJ and PK, it's 97.5 The Zone.